Hello and welcome to the weekly emotional awareness discussion. It is Tuesday night, it is 7 p.m. and for anybody who did watch last week's and wondered what the hell was going on, that'll make sense when you see what we have planned for the week the 17th of August, why everything got in a muddle. We've been in complete time warp. I turned up last week, did the show, thought there's no guest, and then he messaged me and said, I thought we were doing it at 7 p.m. And then I realised, oh my God, it was 7. I'd recorded it at 5 o'clock. I was 2 hours early. So no wonder my guest didn't show up. So apologies to anybody who saw all that confusion last week. But tonight I'm here at 7 p.m. with my guest, Michelle Greenwell. And my guest that did arrive at 7 p.m, we carried on and recorded a session anyway, and we're going to play that on the 17th. So there we go, that's my quick catch up at the start. Complete chaos last week, but it wasn't chaos, it was meant to be for a reason, and it will all come out in the wash. So welcome, Michelle. Thank you for joining me this evening. Hi.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's wonderful.
You're very welcome. And your room there, it just looks so warm. It's just got this lovely glow to it, like you're in the evening sunset or something. Really looks cozy.
Well, I'm in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and it is 3 p.m. my time. So you're seeing the glow of the yellow paint, which is Big Bird's Birdseed Yellow from Sesame Street.
Oh, I love Big Bird. I used to watch Sesame Street when I was little, and my children were obsessed with it when they were little. I don't think my grandchildren have got into it the same though. It's a shame because it's an amazing programme for learning. But yeah, so brilliant. So yes, emotional awareness discussion. I'm thrilled to have you here tonight because I always like to try and bring my guests and welcome guests. Good to see you here. I know there's people watching tonight and I love having people watching. It makes us feel less lonely and it's great to have you. So yeah, I try to bring something different every week, new guests, new topics around emotional awareness. And Michelle Greenwell, I will again give my apologies, I put about kinesiology on the title. Michelle's term for this is Bioenergetic Wellness. So Michelle, please start by telling us a little bit about what Bioenergetic Wellness is and how you've got into this, or a little bit more about you.
Okay, so for people who know the term kinesiology, around the world, we have people who do kinesiology, which is how movement works. Then we have people who do applied kinesiology, which comes down through the chiropractors. And then we have people use the term specialized kinesiology, which is we muscle monitor, but we're not always focused on movement exactly. Sometimes we're working in some other areas in relation to how much better you will move, but in a different way. In Canada, we actually don't use the term kinesiology. We use the term bioenergetic wellness. And the reason we do that, one is a little bit of legislation around the term kinesiology. And I won't go into that part, but in the process of defining who we are and what we do, we discovered what we really produce is the opportunity for wellness and energy. And so if we focus on the end product instead of the tool that we're using, then we have the opportunity to share so much more. And that's really what's happened for us here in Canada. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that sounds amazing. I was going to say, actually, having had kinesiology used on me in the past, like you said about the end product, it was used as a tool for diagnosis rather than an end product. So yeah, so carry on.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is we don't actually diagnose anything. What we're looking for is what is bioacidic. That means something that's not going to support us energetically. What is something biostatic, which means it might support you, might not support you, or it doesn't really affect you. And then you have bioenergetic. So we're always looking for the activity, the support systems that are going to always provide us with energy. And if we choose to use something that's going to take energy away, then we always have that choice of what are we going to do with it when that energy disappears. So, and sometimes at night, for me, I like a nice big bowl of popcorn, and that is a no-no for my body, but sometimes for a movie, you just want to have popcorn. But then I know, okay, that means I've got to do something energetically to shift things so that my body can be supported to process the popcorn. So
Oh, wow.
that's the kind of things we're working with. And when you're referring to kinesiology, I know lots of people will be thinking, what does that mean muscle monitoring wise? What it means is you're accessing information from the body about how it feels about things. So it could be about, is your muscle functioning right? So a physiotherapist would maybe working with the deltoid, you'd put your arm up and then they would push down on the arm and see
Yeah.
if the muscle would hold. And what we do is less than 2 pounds of pressure. So we're not looking for the strength of the muscle, but we're actually looking for energetically, how is it holding? So what I could do is I could put a gemstone, or I could put some flowers in front of me as an example. And then I could go back to that muscle and see when that's next to me, is that arm going to hold or is it going to let go? And that tells me then if it's going to be supportive or not supportive. So for those people that
Okay.
maybe react to flowers, certain kinds of flowers, when their nose stuffs up, yeah, always helpful to know what is a tool that can get you there, right? So
This
you
is
don't
why
have
I
to.
have green plants. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so our
Yeah.
focus really has been on energizing the body and the tools that will get us there. And then we use the muscle monitoring, how we think it'll work.
Oh, bless. Oh, no, that sounds amazing. Yes, because I did have that done on me to diagnose digestive issues. And the lady, she put little vials of food on my hand and did the pressure test, like you said. But I felt there was something strange about how it was done, not about the system itself, but her. And I came away thinking that wasn't right. And I get that if it's always done the same, but it was like sometimes she would just tap and go, no, that one's fine. And other times she'd push and go, no, you're reacting. And I was thinking, hang on a minute, she's holding that file as well as me. I thought it was affecting her more than me. Because I thought if she's just doing that one and then she's doing that, and I thought if she just did the same thing to me every time, I might have actually believed what she'd done. But I don't disbelieve what it does either, because I've seen lots of other examples and demonstrations of it, and it looks like a really, really powerful way to support somebody's well-being. But you've got to use a little bit up here depending on who's using it on you as well, I think.
And you
But
say
yeah.
something that's really valuable, because a lot of people will feel that, like, because for us as a facilitator, it doesn't really matter to us. We have nothing invested in it. If roses bother you or cat hair or what, it doesn't really matter to us. But what happens is when you go to do that 2 pounds of pressure, if it's going to hold, it's going to hold. And if it's going to let go, very often what you sense as more pressure to the arm to push it down actually becomes the arm dropping away so fast that you didn't realize. And it feels like there's more pressure on it because it just can't hold. So it's a really interesting experience to have, because you're relying on somebody else, yes, to do that. But a
Yeah.
lot of times for me, what I do is I just have the people do it themselves, and I use what's called the body pendulum. So that's
Okay.
just standing on your feet and just seeing which way your body sways. It's very
Wow.
simple.
Much more
So,
reliable. Yeah.
so for those people that are listening in or watching, if you want to stand on your feet, I'm just sitting on a chair, which I could do it this way too. And what you're going to do is you're just standing on your feet, and then just think yes, and see which way your body goes, and it'll move somewhere. And then you can think no and see what happens. And if you leave your knees unlocked, you breathe deeply, your body's relaxed, it will move. And you'll notice it usually in your feet. And it's a great way to start to get to know what kinds of things you might be choosing that might not be as supportive for you. And it could be nutrition. We're not nutritionists, and we're not going to prescribe any kinds of vitamins or anything. All we're looking for is what energetically supports you. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that sounds amazing. And it reminds me very much like using dowsing pendulum, because again, it's not the pendulum that does the movement, it's your own body's micro movements. And again, that yes, no question, whatever it is you're asking. So it sounds like a very similar thing, but just letting your body tell you. I love the sound of that. Yeah, oh, amazing.
And the thing for us is, or what I focus on, is trying not to use language. Because if you use language, then you get something like, because most people will say, is this chocolate bar good for me? right? Can I please eat the chocolate?
Of course it
That's what they're
is.
going to answer. And, and the body might be going, I could really use the caffeine. I could really use the cacao that's in there. I could really, like, there might be something in there that it goes, that would be supportive. But the thing about anytime you try to check in with sugar, sugar just plays tricks on you. And if you have an addiction to sugar, it'll immediately suck you in as a, yes, I need that chocolate. And so we
Yeah.
try to stay completely away from sugar, because then you're not going to get any false responses that have come
Yeah.
back. But if you go
Emotional
with,
need versus diet. Emotional emotional support can override the dietary support or the negative. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, because your mind might be
so,
going, yes, I need it because I want to feel good, and it, yes, that
well, you
sugar will
could
give
have
you that
that going on.
dopamine hit.
Yeah, you could have that going on, but also the way you put the question together, it might not be asking what you really wanted to ask. So if you try to get away from that, so if you think about, I really want to be playing outside with lots of energy, or I want to go ride my bike and I want to do 4Ks today. Then you have that opportunity to think about it and picture yourself doing it. And then if the body is energetically going to be supportive, you could do it, you can set up different ways. But for me, then I would set it up. If I'm thinking about that piece and I just stay completely solid, then I know that my vision is clear. But if I say, I'm going to do a 4 kilometer ride and I can picture myself doing it, and you're just envisioning that whole thing and your body just starts to move, the energy has shifted, then you know, oh, okay, that might not be the best. But you could say, all right, I picture myself doing the route that goes this direction, and you just picture it and the body settles in. You go, great, okay, I'm going to take the route that goes uphill and around and back, and then I'm going to loop in, and then I'm going to come back, and the body's just like, oh, and you go,
Yeah.
aha, that's not going to be supportive. I'm going to have more energy if I choose that one that made me feel solid than the one that didn't. And then for some
Right.
people, they'll it's that whole mantra for physical fitness, that more is better, push hard, go for the burn, all those kinds of phrases that might have got locked in there somewhere. And sometimes when you ask the body, less is more.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'll have a much better result because you'll come home and you'll feel energized, instead of you come home and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so hard. I got to go lie down for an hour and just have a nap. And then that means, yep, you did.
Yeah.
You took yourself a little too far, and now you've got to do something to bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can take more out than we put in, and it might feel like we're eating a lot, but if you're eating the wrong things, it's not enough nutrition for the nutrition taken out. So yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, brilliant. So yeah, we missed a couple of comments earlier, so I did pop them on the screen. But Yvette said evening to you both. Yvette's my regular lady, watches every week, apart from when I missed last, got it wrong. Anyway, yes, hi, yes, I'm here. So she's put, I wondered where you were. So I said it'll all come clear. And I'm not sure where she is now. Oops, Mary France. Mary France. Hi, Mary France. I don't know if she's still watching or not. But yeah, how cool is that? And I think I'm trying to think what she said that to now. I missed the comments earlier on.
I was discussing bioenergetic wellness and the difference.
Something earlier.
Yeah, muscle monitoring.
So Yvette says I have a crystal healing and pendulum for various things, anxiety and digestion. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So yeah, different things that are using this body's energy. And yeah, so tell us a bit more about you, Michelle, and how you got into all of this. How did you get into? And I don't think this is all you do either, is it? I think there's more to it.
Oh yeah, there's lots of different pieces I do. All of them are related to wellness. All of them are related to movement, because my passion is using movement to heal the body. That's what I love to work with. Not saying I don't use other tools. I love to play, so I'm always using tools. But I have run a dance studio for over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And at one point, when my kids were young, I lost the ability to walk on my feet from all of the stress that was going on in my life. So the muscles in my feet just completely seized up and I just couldn't walk. I also lost the ability to speak at that time, so my voice was very soft and I just couldn't project myself. And that was a lot of stress going on. Companies that we were performing, we were all over the place doing things and pulling in a lot of directions. Plus, I was a young mom and my husband was working in the city, and then he'd have to try to come home to the small town we lived in. And there was a lot going on. And I stumbled across one of the dance teachers, this wonderful, wonderful contemporary dancer, modern dancer, Lynn Simonson in New York City, was doing a workshop, and she said the words "touch for health." And I went, oh, that sounds really interesting. And then that was ahead of Google and being able to search things out, which I know most of the viewers probably wouldn't understand. So I had to wait until I got some kind of information that I could find a phone number for somebody. And there was a wonderful instructor, Greg Webb, who also did facilitator work for me. So I just started studying Touch for Health and learning about how you can touch points on the body to energize, how you could trace a line, and how you create flow. And that was how it started. And slowly the repair work to my feet came along, and then I was back dancing. And I had inserts in my shoes, orthotics. I had every tool I could just to cope, right? And a microphone, and so that's all history now. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. No, that's wow. What a story to go through that and then lose the ability to do what you're passionate about, and then to lead to, and this is what I love about this. So many people on this show have been through a challenge that's then led them to what they do now. And what they do now is so much more appreciated because of the challenge. But I know we would rather all have not had to have gone through these challenges, but they always make life more appreciative. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. So Touch for Health, it literally, you're talking about all the different contact points on the body. To me, and I know that's used in lots of different styles of healing around the world. And you get these charts, is it all the meridians and things?
Right. So Touch for Health was originally something brought together through the chiropractors. So comes down from traditional Chinese medicine to the chiropractors. Dr. George Goodheart discovered that there was this link between muscles and meridians, and certain muscles, certain meridians. And then he also noticed there were emotions that went along with that. And as he played around to try to find the right techniques to help his clients, these tools emerged. And underneath that was a series of, they called them the Dirty Dozen. There's a series of other chiropractors, naturopaths who were working with George Goodheart. And Dr. John Thie said, you should really record all of this information. And George said, I'm not interested, but you're welcome to go do that. So John wrote the original textbook, and then his son Matthew joined him for a complete edition. And it's taking the 14 basic muscles belonging to the 14 basic meridians and introducing the idea of meridians, so energy lines that run through the body, neurovascular points, so points on the head that you can hold, and they'll calm different parts and different systems. Then you have neurovascular, which is rubbing points on the body. Those are the basic components. And then we have some other pieces which help to balance right and left sides of the body, help with breathing, hydration, all those kinds of things. And it works through the 5-element theory from Chinese medicine. And I know when I say that, everybody goes, oh, that sounds like a lot. What I've focused on this last year has really, number one, moving from the term kinesiology into bioenergetic wellness, has introduced new terminology, but also new understanding. And then this last year, I spent a lot of time building programs mostly for kids, some adults too, but with dance, I spent a lot of time with kids, building programs that introduces the idea of the 5 elements and what does it mean when those 5 elements are in flow. And so building products that help people use it and understand it. So.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah. Oh, well done. And it's interesting how so much comes back to Chinese healing, sort of historically, and so many different methods link back to similar things. But what I'm fascinated about at the moment is lots of things that I've seen online on YouTube. I just get lost in YouTube so easily. I put one video on and like 100 videos later I'm finally trying to pull myself out of it. But all this stuff about how healing with sort of ancient Chinese with all the chakras and things are now lining up with science about neurons throughout the body and, like you said, the healing points. And it's just interesting how everything's all tying together, whereas in the past science and religion and healing, like spiritual healing, have all been like separate things, but it's all coming together and starting to make sense again in the modern world. And that's what I love about all this, is it's no longer woo-woo stuff. It is genuinely being scientifically proved, so much of it, as to why it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because back when they were first, using the scientific method, it was, we should break everything down to its minute piece. And then we studied the piece. But that was because they just couldn't understand what was all going on. So they were trying to break it down to that. But what's happened is we stayed in the small piece.
Yeah.
And when you start to realize how all these systems work together, it's beautiful. And what I really love, my other background is in therapeutic touch. And therapeutic touch, as soon as you take your hands and just hold them with the intention of offering energy, and that's just offering, the person has the opportunity to receive if they wish or not. As soon as that's engaged, the innate healing potential in the body starts to balance. And everything just starts to come into balance without doing anything else, which is amazing. So we have such incredible potential, but when you break everything down into its part, you're so busy breaking it into the part, you've forgotten about the other parts. And when the innate healing potential is engaged, it knows what to balance. So we can get out of our heads and get out of the way, because it doesn't really need us.
His body is very, very knowledgeable and capable in its own right. Given all the right circumstances, your body will heal. That's naturally what it's driven to do. In the same way, every human being is driven to being happy. We're not driven to being sad, angry, or depressed in the literal sense. Apart from when there is to an extent a drive for each of them under the right circumstances. But we're all so drawn to being happy, like it's the ultimate goal. And very similar way. I love all that. So oh, amazing. So I still can't believe 30 years of dance as well. So tell us a little bit more about your dance and how that all fits in with what you're doing now. Because that's interesting. Well, you do something called tap and tea, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
I've been doing my research.
Yeah, I've been teaching Highland step dance, ballet, hip hop, jazz, lyrical, musical theater. Over the years, I've done a lot of things. I built lots of preschool programs, choreographed lots of programs that allow people to have set choreography pieces, and toured. So I'm touring with 3 generations. So we toured as families, not as the professionals per se, but as the amateurs who just really love to perform, and getting the whole family involved in that situation. So that's what I've done over the years.
I'm so envious. That sounds incredible. Yeah.
It's been quite a journey. There's a lot of great stories. There's a lot of disastrous stories, but that's always what makes the show go on and the show to be exciting. In the last 10 years, we moved from across the country. We were in Alberta, Canada, and we came over to Cape Breton because of the music and the dance that is here, and wanting to have some time away from running a dance studio and meeting the obligations of what that means, and to be able to focus on building programs. So that's what I've really focused on for the last 10 years. And in this time of COVID, unable to teach dance at all, I spent this last year building programs. And so I've been linking up dance movements and healing pieces. So when you're moving, I can intentionally set up what kind of healing potential is there. And in reference to the tap class, I teach a step dance tap class. It's kind of a cross. It's just for fun. It's just to have a good time and enjoy some music and enjoy some patterning. But what I've focused on this last little bit is taking emotional freedom technique, which is the technique that people often refer to as the tapping, where you go through all of these points on the face and the top of the body. That's one end point of meridians. The other end point is down in your feet and also in your hands.
Reflexology.
And so what I've done is I've flipped from going here, because we're already tapping our feet on the floor. So I've just gone to tapping our feet in certain patterns. And so I have different dance steps that we've had for many years that I've been able to link up into patterning. And I've been using Callahan's original algorithms that he studied for people with stress or trauma. We have the tapping solution has done a fantastic job of bringing tapping forward. And with that, they've blanketed a really simple technique that everybody can use. And so what I've gone to is back to the original, pull out just what you need for certain kinds of things, and then create dance steps for that.
Oh, that sounds incredible. So I love how creative that is, that you've managed to combine dance with healing, but actually using the knowledge, not just randomly saying, oh, if you dance, it will make you fit. This is not about fitness or about, do that, you get your cardio going. I love how you've tied that in. That is really creative and so much more fun.
And everybody comes with a story. That's the interesting thing, because somebody will be in class and I have a student who only has so much energy, and when that energy runs out, then she sits down and goes to seated, and then to be able to say, you reached the end of your energy line there, so now instead of focusing on let's work your mind and learn that step, let's back up a little bit, let's put some energy back in, put in what you need, still dancing. And then all of a sudden she's back up moving again, and away we go. And not that I need her to be back up and doing that. She can easily do it seated as well. So, and that's the other piece of my life is Tai Chi and whole body movement and doing the seated form of Tai Chi. Tap dancing is the same as some of the foot patterns we use in Tai Chi, which is really cool. So I mix and match.
Just slightly slower, more adult-friendly version. Rather than it's like it's the same sort. I can understand the correlation between them, but completely different rhythm. I can get that. Wow. That again, so creative to think of that way. Brilliant. So, I've got an echo. It's like hearing myself talk from somewhere. Yeah, I don't know why. So, that's brilliant. So, my goodness, you get more and more stuff coming out here that you're doing. So, you've got the tap, you've got all the different dances, you've got the I know you send the 5 elements thing. You've got the Tai Chi, you've got the tapping, and it's like, oh my goodness. So, I get why you're saying bioenergetic wellness, because that's so. You've got this whole toolkit of things to tailor to every individual, and it sounds really empowering. And,
because if I was to use the words kinesiology, then that would be referring to the movement of the muscle, and we might not be moving the muscle. We might be rubbing some points. We might be holding our fingertips on our forehead. When you need to calm down, this is fabulous to be able to do this. Or we might be doing this. So there really has nothing to do with movement. It has more to do with getting the energy flow in. And as soon as you flip that terminology, it's like, wow, what else can we do with this? And in the end, you will move better, but you might have come at it from a different angle.
No, it sounds incredible. And I know it all sounds very strange. To some people, they might still be skeptical about this and about energy. And it's like, you put your hands there, okay, they feel warm. And some people might still be very skeptical about this. But I actually saw a video today which really surprised me, and it was somebody doing energy healing. So he wasn't even touching the body at all, but he was doing, like you said, energetic sort of release. But this is how I love how they're bringing it in with science. And this guy he actually had somebody, and he'd sit them down for about 20-25 minutes so that whatever they'd been doing, their body neutralised to the room. So they didn't come in and they're like all hot and bothered or cold, or, they didn't Not so he let the temperature settle in the room for 20-25 minutes, and he put these thermal cameras on them. So wherever the injury was, you could see like the heat wherever the injury was, like in the chest or the back or the legs. And then lift this thermal camera on, and he did his energy healing, and you watch the thermal image completely change on the camera as he healed them. And it might have taken sometimes like quite a while, and sometimes literally minutes. But I was like, my goodness, to actually do that and see it on camera, it's not just sitting there believing it. You could see it for real. This is science. When you go into the realms of actually documenting something like that. So for some people who are skeptical about these things, there are people out there genuinely proving that these things work. And but at the same
waiting
time,
for the science.
No, that is it. It's all been there. Yeah, all been there, but we've taken a complete cycle out of what we thought of as spirituality into this world of disbelief. But we're now sort of going back into it, and this is a lot of people who won't still. But if you don't believe it's going to work, they're just not going to access it, and it won't work. As simple as that. But so there's got to be an element of belief about anything, an element of. But that's another story in mindset, in how somebody approaches something. So many therapies out there to access, but
and that takes you back to I'm working on my dissertation in integrative health, and I've been trying to articulate in bioenergetic wellness what are the key features about what we do that's different from what other alternative things might be, other complementary things. And there's three pieces that come together. One is that we use that muscle monitoring. So we're asking for the ways that we're going to be energizing the system, or finding out what's not going to provide energy, and then being able to change our patterns. And then the second part is goal setting and intention. And so when you were talking about intention of believing that it's going to work, you have to also know what your end result is that you're looking for. So if your end result is that you're waiting for the doctor to give you a diagnosis, that's your goal, and they'll give you a diagnosis and they'll give you a prescription because that's what you asked for, and that was what your goal was. But if your goal is about living vibrantly or living with joy, then that's a completely different thing. And when you're using goal setting every single day, and all the projects you touch, all the meetings that you do, everything has an intended purpose in it. Everything just starts to flow, because the energy is always flowing to what your intention is. And if your intention is, I'm waiting for the diagnosis, that's as far as the energy is going to go. But if your intention is to be vibrant, today I'm going to live with vibrancy and joy, or lots of people will say gratitude. And then you bring in that feeling, that emotion, there's a complete shift that happens. And when you imagine your outcome, the mind is no longer trying to control everything. Your heart. Your heart is present, because that's what you really want to be doing. And that's a difference. So we have the muscle monitoring, we have the goal setting, and then the final piece is creating this flow so that you move well. And so then your activity that you choose to engage in order to bring the balance and flow brings the bioenergetic wellness. So we have those are our key features that are different, because we can pull tools. I could use EFT, I could use gemstones, I could use essential oils, I can use all those things. But if I don't muscle monitor to find out first what I need, and then second have my goals and everything ready to go, then I might get a little ways, I might get part of the way, I might not get anywhere near it, and then say, oh, nothing ever works. And there's that belief piece, because then they say, well, I don't believe in it. And it's like, well, no, because you have to make sure you know where you're going and what your path is and what you hope to achieve to get there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because I would say the same with the diagram up here on the screen. Emotions, to be somewhere emotionally in an emotional state, you need to know where you are now and where you want to be, to know the changes to make in between. because you might be angry and you want to feel calm, and you'll need to make different changes than if you're feeling grieving and you want to feel motivated. So the changes you'll need to make will also depend on other circumstances. So you need, it's like any journey. If you know, physically taking a journey from A to B, you have to know where A is and B is before you can make the journey in the middle. Otherwise, you're just wandering aimlessly. You have to know your start and your end point. So it makes sense, absolutely. But can I just catch up, because what you were just saying about all of that and setting those intentions. For some reason, I sat here this afternoon and randomly jotted down a poem. It's only a little short one, but it really fits with what you were saying. It's almost like I was meant to write it, and I haven't written a poem for years, so this is very odd. And I had a vision of a little necklace with a seed embedded in it. So a simple seed around my neck. Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead and I'll tell you afterwards. Go ahead.
Okay, right, there's something coming out of this. This is the universe speaking between us somehow. So I've put a simple seed around my neck. Reminds me to think of this. When life is getting tough, I have the power to make a wish. A wish won't make it happen, but it sets the thought in mind that anything can happen if I put in the daily grind.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
It just came out today.
I was laughing because as you said that, I was thinking about, we just finished publishing a book this week, and the symbol that is for the four of us who wrote the book is a shamrock. And a storybook that has a shamrock necklace. So when you said the seed, and I just immediately, the shamrock jumped into my head. I was like, oh, that is too funny.
So there we go. It sounds like I have written a poem today for you.
Yeah. And please
and for all of our viewers. Oh, wow.
On there. But
beautiful.
The little clover. And
four-leaf clover, shamrock.
Yeah, and each of us has our initial in there. Yeah. This book, actually, you can get online for free. So we published it so that it would go out for free to everyone. And
amazing.
Yep. And so you can get it on canbewell.org. We have it up on the blog. You can get it at nolative.com.
Yeah, we'll pop those links in a bit.
Yeah. Healingalliance.com, and one of the organizations that I think ties in lovely to our conversation is the chooselovemovement.org. And so those are all places that you can get it for free, and you can download it, and it has all the tools that I was just mentioning about inside of it. So I'm just going to share that. And the other piece that's in there is the Choose Love formula. And the Choose Love formula is what ties in so beautifully with the work that you've done.
Yes.
Yeah. So choosing love, you've got compassion and action. So taking action to assist other people. You've got forgiveness for yourself and for others. You have the courage to take that first step, make a change and be the change. And then you have gratitude for all those people or situations that provide you with the opportunity to change. That's the Choose Love formula.
Yes. And that's another organisation I know you do a lot of work with, or you're close with them. Because I've spoken with a couple of members now, and I've still trying to get set up to speak with another lady. It's gone out, man. Is it Scarlett? Still trying to get her set up to have a conversation with her. But for our viewers, so the viewers understand, the Choose Love movement is a lady in Canada who has set up a charity about compassion and teaching compassion in schools after her son's life was taken at 6 years old, I believe it was.
Yeah, in the United States, actually.
Sandy
Hook Elementary School. Yep.
Yeah, and sadly in a school shooting, and if I remember rightly, 33 children. It was quite basically a horrific time for anybody, and she's began this charity, Choose Love. So I've been in communication with them, and that that spoke to me because, like really strongly to me, because although I've not experienced anything like that in my life, in my family or anything like that, there was an incident. It was about 25 years ago. In Scotland in the UK, and anybody in the UK might remember the Dunblane shooting. and there was 16 children and a teacher that was shot. And this rung really strongly with me because at the time my mum was about to make a quilt, and she wanted to make 100% out of silk, and she'd collected fabrics ready to do it, and she kind of had some ideas in mind, and this happened and she changed her mind about her designs, and she decided to make this quilt to represent the children and to remember them for that shooting. And I spent 3 months, when I could, 3 months on and off visiting my mum to help her design this quilt, and then she spent the next year making it. So I emotionally grown quite connected with this story, even though I wasn't involved with it. It was the other end of the country. So when I heard about the Choose Love movement, I was like, oh my goodness, yes. I was like, I just couldn't believe somebody could turn something like that around to deal with that, and compassion. But very much like, I know my son struggled so much with depression, anxiety, he was suicidal. That was the flip side of somebody wanted to take their own life, take their own life versus somebody else's. But it all comes back to bullying in school, not fitting in the school environment, and this can kick back years later. People bottle things up, they're not addressed right, people don't show them compassion, and something like this is so important. Really is. So yes, I'm definitely willing to support the Choose Love movement, and anything I can do to help, because that is just so important. 100%.
And the social emotional learning component is what they're focused on in creating resiliency, and they're trying to bring it through the school system. It does filter into absolutely everything that we do. What I've done with it is I've combined it with the 5-element theory, and I've also combined it with the sign language. And so that gives you a movement in order to heal. And it also gives you the balancing of that wheel to bring everything into flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with you right now. And so for those people that are watching and listening in, I'll describe it in case you're listening in. This is a way that you can balance and bring everything back into flow. So it's nice and simple, and it's using the formula for Choose Love. And if you can think about the components and bring them around, or you can just engage. So if you make the AOK fingers, so you've got the thumb and the pointer finger coming together, that is choose. And then if you make a circle with your hands, bring it around into a hug, and you've got your hands in a fist just at your chest, that's Choose Love. Then you're going to take your middle finger, just drop it down a little bit from the rest of the hand. You're just going to shake your hands out in front and just go back and forth. That's compassion in action. So that's as soon as you reach out to assist someone else, you help yourself at the same time. So sometimes the best way to move forward is to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you take your left hand and put it out, then you're going to take your right hand and go from the palm, and you're going to swipe the fingers down towards the center of the fingertips. You're just going to go right down the whole left hand. That is forgiveness. And sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we have to forgive others, and we just have to let it go. Then you're going to take a bear claw hand. So both hands look like a claw, and you're going to just bring that towards your shoulder. And then you're going to do a butterfly fist, which is your hands come up into a fist, but they're so light, you could catch a butterfly inside and you wouldn't squish it. So that's your butterfly. Okay. So you've got your bear claw, and then your hands go up into a butterfly fist. That's courage. And it takes courage to recognize you need to do something different. And it takes courage sometimes for the action, or even the action to help somebody else. And then the last one is you bring your hand to your chin. And that is gratitude. So when you finished, no matter what we're doing in the day, there's always gratitude for something wonderful that's happened for us. Now, what I did is I walked you through fire, earth, metal, water, wood, and back to fire. And so I walked you through the whole nurturing cycle. So now if you wanted to have more energy towards a project, we're calling it stabilizing. You wanted to make some changes, but you want to be able to hold on to it. Then you do it slightly different. So if you follow me, I've got the A-OK fingers, and then you're going to cross into the hug. So there's choose love. And then we're going to go down to the metal element. Silver, white, or gray is the color. And we're just going to take those fingertips down the left hand. Ours are forgiveness. And then we're going to go to wood. So wood was gratitude. The hand went to the chin. That's the color green. And then we're going to go to the earth element, which is yellow, same as my room. And we're going to do compassion and action. So we're just shaking the fingers. And then we go across to the water element, which is our courage. Fingertips make the claw, come up to the butterfly fist. And then we finish by coming back to choose love, which is the fire element. And you've got the A-OK fingers coming across into the hug. And so now we've walked the nurturing cycle and the stabilizing cycle, and that brings everything into flow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It's beautiful. The formula is amazing. And just what they're doing in the programs that are offered for free are, they're just, I've never seen anything like it. So,
yeah, I can imagine that must go down really well with the children. So what sort of age group do they do that with? Is that like primary right up to high school?
All the way through. They've got programs for communities, programs for groups, sports, business. When you start operating your business with a Choose Love formula, things just completely transition. So then you have what happens in the schools, but then you also have families, you have seniors, you have people who work with seniors. So and all the programs, they've got them listed on the website, chooselovemovement.org, and they you can go in and you can just access them all for free, and they're putting on special events throughout the year. They're fundraising events because everything they offer is for free. But it's a great opportunity. And on Wednesdays, which is noon my time, which for you would be 4:00 in the afternoon, I do Wellness Wednesday and I do Tai Chi and I share it. And you can sign up for that on chooselovemovement.org. If you go into their events, then you'll see I'll pop up, and you don't need any experience to come and take Tai Chi. So.
Oh, brilliant. We'll have to get all these links together afterwards and put them in the chat. We'll make sure we do that before we disappear afterwards. But that'd be great. So people can come back and check in a bit later on today or first thing tomorrow, and those links will be there. Or if you're watching it on replay, they should already be there. Hopefully. Fingers crossed, we'll be there. So Karen's just saying, what's the website again? Hi, Karen. Karen's over your side of the water.
Okay.
Whereas Yvette's nearer me. Karen is actually my cousin, bless her, over in America.
Oh, lovely.
And she's down in Arkansas, bless her. So, so it's great.
chooselovemovement.org.
chooselovemovement.org. Let's see if I can find it very quickly and we'll get that up, because I know there were some others you mentioned earlier.
Yep. So these are all organizations that we collaborate with. So I'm president currently of canbewell.org, and that's the organization that transitioned from that kinesiology title into bioenergetic wellness. We have wonderful programs, class listings, things that come up, resources that are there. And like I said, on our blog post, that's where you can find our free book. We have an organization called Nolative.com. And Nolative is where all of the science behind what we're doing is being archived. There is science already in lots of other places, but what they're doing is they're pulling it all together based on muscle monitoring. And it's a wonderful resource for those people who work in the field. They may find that valuable. For those who want to know more, they may find signing up with Nolative gives them something completely new to work with.
Yeah, that sounds like one I'm interested in looking at, where it brings it all together. I'm definitely going to be looking into that site. So, I think you have told me about that before, actually.
Pardon me?
I think you've told me about that one before, actually. I think I've linked it somewhere.
And Can Be Well is working with Nolative for a very special 3-part series that we're going to launch in November. We're going to have pre-activities coming up here in the fall, which I'll be leading people through the most basic techniques, which is our Bioenergetic Essentials book, and then advancing the techniques. And then we have this 3-part series that takes us through the key pieces that I described today. We're going to actually walk through all that and the latest science. so people can
Wow.
really explore and get to understand the techniques. And we're working with Nolative for that one, so we're glad about that partnership.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that's really great. It's so much going on with you. It's just like it's like all these separate components, but it's all
Mhm.
amazing how you brought it all together. It's incredible. And yeah,
Thank you.
right. So we'll definitely go back through them and get all those links in afterwards because I'm
Mm.
trying to look them up, but I can't keep up with that pace. So we'll put them in after. But chooselovemovement.org is there, Karen. And thank you, ladies. Love this. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, no. So I'm just trying to think what to ask you, Nest. We've just got like boom, 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 all the way through this so much, so quickly, and just covered so much ground today.
I'll plant a seed for you. How's that?
Okay, you do
I
that.
can do
You
that. Okay, so I plant two seeds, and this is because our topic is emotional awareness, and
Yes.
people sometimes don't really know how do they want to tackle that. And I know I get people who say, "I do not want to talk about my events anymore. I'm done. I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about them anymore." The thing about doing energy techniques is it gets the energy imbalance, so you don't do that anymore. And you know how you have that monkey thought that keeps going round and round in your head. It's like I cannot get rid of this monkey thought. And when you are energetically in flow, it just disappears. There's no effort involved. And that's one of the key pieces because a lot of people think they have to keep working at it. And yeah, you do in a way, but when it's energetically in flow, you start to just move away from that stuff, the angst of it all, and you start to really move towards what we talked about, which is what your intention is, what your goals are, and what you really envision yourself doing. And I'm sure you're not
Yeah.
envisioning yourself holding on to those monkey thoughts because who wants to hold on to the grocery list for forever? You know,
Yeah. Preferably
for the
not.
time when you were little and somebody pushed you off the chair, let it
Oh
go,
yeah.
move on to something else.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to plant the seed about is there's two projects that we just finished. One is in with the book, The Bioenergetic Essentials. And we created, it's called In the Cards. And what we did is
Oh, that's pretty.
this is
Wow.
Tanya Levy's artwork. She's fantastic. This is a photograph that was nature. And then she ran it through some filters and does her
Wow.
magic to it. And then we ended up with these fantastic photos. I'll show you a couple more. But what we did is
Amazing.
we took the tools in the Bioenergetic Essentials book and put it into a game in a card deck. And it's
Wow.
all about the five elements. So you can see the five
Yeah.
element symbol there.
We
And what
love that
we've
they're
done is
hearts.
everything is based on the five
Yeah.
elements. And this is something that Choose Love will be adding to their repertoire of things that you can do and might be ways that you can engage with your family. And it's for us, it's ways of helping people find these tools and learn how to play with these tools and get them actively going.
Oh, that
But
sounds
I'll
great.
share with you. This is one piece I wanted to share with you about emotion. So I've talked
Yeah.
about other organizations. I've talked about the work I do for other initiatives, and what I do for myself is always is progressing movement the best that I can, so that we can have optimum ways of expressing ourselves, whether it be dance, tai chi, going out in the garden, anything. I'm always trying to find that way that you can move easier. And that's the work that I'm passionate about for myself. And
Oh
so
wow.
I teamed up with Tanya Levy and her artwork. And I actually had created a chart about the spiritual points along the spine. What does each vertebra in the spine mean? What is the frequency that it vibrates at? Because every bone in our body has a different frequency. Every organ has a different frequency. And then we have this beautiful symphony that happens when everything is vibrating at the right frequency. And when it's not, that's when you get the pain in your knee and the disease and whatever, because things are not flowing. So I created this chart, and my student said it's really nice, but it needs to be in a visual. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I have no idea what that means at all. So I kind of sat with it for a while. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I just know this information is really amazing because it had research of 4 different people all compiled into one. And so Tanya, oh bless her for her incredible talents, she makes these pictures that are just so exquisite. I'm just trying to find something that will show up well enough on your screen.
Oh, that's
And
beautiful.
so what you're looking at there is the frequency for lumbar 2. So
Oh,
that
wow.
would be near the tailbone, I guess would be the best way to say it. And the
Yeah.
note is D sharp. And so infused within this photograph is emotion and the ability to let go of the emotion that might be blocking this spot. This one is thoracic 9. I use that one a lot, so that's why it's out of the it's out of flow.
Yeah.
And just for people to know that how you think can completely change how just one part of your body may function. And so what we've done is put that emotion within the picture. So if you've got this imbalance of, I had a friend over. She's expecting in October, and she has a bent tailbone from falling on it when she was in grade 9. And the baby is getting big and is starting to push on this bent tailbone. And so she was talking about how it was feeling and it was slowing her down, and etc. And of course, as soon as that happens, you have those kinds of emotions that on your chart will show up then, bottom half of the chart, right? And it's like,
You
I'm
got
not
it.
so well.
You can tell we've spoken before tonight. More than once, actually, yeah.
And a new mom too, because then she's starting to worry about, I have to deliver this baby, got to come through with the tailbone, and so you can see on your chart how that would pull things in. So what she did was she found which picture that I had with the different frequencies, and she sat with that picture and thought about what it is she wanted, and easy delivery, and all of a sudden the tailbone just let go and the pain disappeared.
Oh, wow.
And
Very
so
much
the ability,
like you were saying with your feet earlier.
yeah, exactly. So just using a tool that allows you to find that flow and to then bring the ease in. And a lot of times emotion can create a pain. I mean, there's lots of chains that go with it, but it can create a pain. And so you have this pain in your shoulder. I don't know where it came from. All of a sudden it just appeared. Well, you might have had some pattern the body recognized from the day before, from last week, whatever, and all of a sudden it's here. But then tomorrow you get up and you go, oh, my shoulder's fine, but my knee is killing me. And what that means is the emotion is moving around the body, and it's coming through that 5 element system, and it's showing up in different places. And it's just really screaming at you, please put me in flow. Please, will you balance me? And like your tool of being able to determine, is it within, or is it on the outside? And what do I need to change? Or what does somebody else need to change in order to find that balance? That whole opportunity is there. And it's the same with the tools, is finding that way to balance. And
And it's amazing you're saying that, because they've actually scientifically proven now that there are brain neurons outside of the brain, and originally they said they're in the gut, and they said actually they're in the heart as well. We've got over 40,000 brain neurons right here at the top of your heart, sort of here, and your heart neurons will actually make a decision before your head will. And so you have a separate emotional strategy going on here. And then you have one in your throat, one on your diaphragm, and every chakra you have a completely separate emotion going on. And this is explained why I'm still struggling at some days to think, okay, well, I understand my cycle, so why am I still struggling with some things? And I've realised it's because, okay, up here I might be feeling like this, but here I might be feeling angry. Get down to the next one, I might be feeling sad. And so it's like, no wonder all my monkeys are having a major argument.
And that's when I
need to stop them squabbling. And so when you've got all these different emotions going on, these as your dopamine and your I've got to gone blank. What's there's happy chemicals. Then you've got your stress, which is your cortisol, and your anger. I get the right light in a minute. The anger, which is your adrenaline. So all of these, and then this is when you just get completely overwhelmed. And when you have no yellow left, the only thing you've got left is depression. Everything becomes overwhelming. And that is your body's chemistry. So this is not just the emotions. This is also representing the body's chemistry that gives us those emotions and gives us health and wellness and illness and disease. Another friend of mine, bless her, she's another energy healer, and I love the term she says. She's been on the show in the past, actually, Dawn Crystal. She says, dis-ease is disease, and I thought that makes so much sense. And when you link it all in with emotions, yes, there are some things that are genuinely are illness, but there is also lots of things which are tied in with being emotionally out of sync. And all the work you're talking is so amazing. It sounds like it's an amazing way of getting all of those emotions back into sync, even without knowing this, without doing this specifically. It's a separate way of just viewing those emotions. But I just love how you bring all of that together through all of that movement. And that's the bit that my strategy is missing, is the movement. Mine's purely about the logic and understanding, whereas yours is just so encompassing that I absolutely love it. I really do. Your work is brilliant, very valuable. Very valuable.
Thank you, Kay. And that's, when everybody just wants to move, right? So they want to feel well, they want to be able to move. And I have lots of people who have been bedridden, and it's just like, just turn your hands. Yeah. And like, that's it? And it's like, yeah. Or you can't move your hands, and so you move your feet, and you're just lying in bed, just move your feet. And just that engagement, again, going back to the innate healing potential, just the engagement creates the flow and the start. And that's all you needed, was you just needed to start. And then the body will start to kick in, and then pretty soon you'll notice that your ankles aren't stiff anymore, and you can move from your knees, and just works up your body. And yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, but all our bodies are made to move, not to sit still. And this day we spend more time sitting still than we should at the computer, so I do. Not enough time moving as we should do. And
the other piece too is, if you go back to the compassion and action, which is part of that Choose Love formula, compassion and action is about reaching out to help someone else. And that really is saying we are only as good as the community in which we function. So if we're trying to do the fixing ourselves, it's very difficult to do that, because you don't have this energetic engagement that goes on with someone else. You need that engagement. And you need that offering, and that immediately engages healing. And so if you can, even if you don't feel like you really want to talk to anybody, if you could at least just, you go down to the mailbox and you just meet the neighbor, even if all you do is say, hi, how are you? And maybe all they say back is fine, and they don't actually tell you, but you at least had that engagement. Just that can change everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that what you're saying. If I just bring this up again, you're saying, we'll get it right. I've written top on the back, but it's so dark in here I can't see it. So you're saying about that, we've got the happy, the sad, the angry, and the depressed. But ideally, the healthy emotional cycle wants to avoid the depressed. And we talk about the positive side, which is motivation rather than aggressive. We want the positive side, which is thoughtful rather than grieving. And so ideally we want motivation, happiness. We want to take in some of that outside change, and actually positive external change is having a purpose, helping other people, having time to sit back, think, reflect, and time to take care of yourself in the middle too. You don't want to be in the negative half of self, which is self-destruct. You want to be in the positive half of self. So it's like you've got this line across the middle. So a perfectly healthy emotional cycle should be like a halo. And when somebody's not in sync emotionally, what do we say? Their halo slipped. And you imagine somebody whose halo is then, say, over here, or it's over here, or somebody whose halo is down here. That's a dark place to live. And it's possible, all the time you're alive, your emotions are going to be on here somewhere. So it's about working, like you're saying, setting that intention. And even my son said he had to desire happiness to get out of that depression. So he had to say, well, I know I'm here. I know I want to be here, and then create the journey. But you can't sit down there and expect this to come to you, because it won't. Like on a map, point A and point B. You can't sit at point A forever and wait for point B to come to you. You have to take that journey, and you have to move that halo back up. Put your hat, get your crown on straight, as some people say. Straighten your, like, what do you call them? Beauty pageants. Straighten your crown, deep breath. And we use all the euphemisms out there. We use all the sort of vocal symbolism and the visual and verbal symbolism. It's all there. The answers are all there. But what you're doing is just so amazing in getting people moving and doing that. And I can't believe that whole hour has passed away. My goodness, it's just like flown.
You and I could talk for forever, I know.
Yeah, I know. I know Mary France was here earlier, and I think she disappeared, so I'm sure she might catch up later. I know she's a very busy lady and on holiday at the moment. So busy. I know she's going to have a break.
Yes.
But I missed her.
She's part of
she's
part of the Canadian team for the Choose Love Ambassadors. And we have a wonderful network. That's been a real delight because there were no ambassadors. Mary France got me into Choose Love. I never met her before, but she reached out to me. I can't even remember what the conversation ended up being. I think I was reaching out for her for one of the techniques that we use from MNRI. And so I was having that conversation, and she came back with Choose Love, and I never looked back. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, Yvette.
I wanted to mention, as you were looking you're looking at your wheel, and at the top of the wheel is your yellow. And as you were doing that, I was looking behind me, just from the screen, and I'm looking at the colors behind me, which I really have all those colors represented. But the yellow one, my husband will say, "Oh, the sun has not shone for days. It's been raining and raining and raining." And for me, the sun shines every single day because my room is yellow. And so for me, the sun is already shining. So I have that already, that goal was already in mind when I chose this color. So I would point that out for people, because sometimes, and that's one of the things in the tools that I use, when you choose colors, those colors transform things. And you can, and I said those colors as we went around the wheel, those colors.
Different vibrational frequencies again,
And then the flow that you think about them in, or if you wear a color on you, you could be choosing colors that don't support you, and you could flip that around to choose colors that do.
I come out in very, very dark blue today. I needed comfort and downtime today. Dark blue. I think it's more that I needed to do some washing. I need to catch up in the kitchen. But no, I do love my bright, cheerful colours normally, but sometimes I like a good old navy blue. It's lovely embroidery on glaze, which I like. But your blue is beautiful with the tie-dye as well.
Yeah, thank you.
All those colours, because colours are frequency and vibration, and when you raise the vibration of things around you, you raise your vibrational energy. There are still days when, understanding emotions doesn't stop you having them, but it helps you understand that when you are not in the state you want to be in, why you're there, and the changes you need to make to get back there. And it's still powerful to learn about whatever way. So, but it's just incredible how it all ties in with what you're doing, with what Choose Love's doing. With Mary France, I've had a couple of conversations with her, and I'm really looking forward to talking to her again. And she recognises that I've created something that even I don't know how to fully deliver to the world, and I know I don't. It's like, I know I've created this iceberg, and I only understand the tip of it, and I know that. So it's amazing that she's recognised that, and I'm looking forward to working more. You do have this amazing network of ladies over there, all working with these charities and things, and it's incredible. And I've really enjoyed the last few months getting to know you all, meeting different people within the group, and I really, really appreciate you coming on and talking tonight as well. It's been amazing.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. The other interesting thing is we make these tools, and I could say this, because I know how you got to your tool, but we never fully understand our tools until we share them. And so as soon as you share them out, it's like, oh, I never thought to do that. Oh, you use it that way? Oh, or somebody says something to me about a challenge they have, and I go, oh, well, if you use this card, and I go, oh, I never knew that. And it just grows. And then, you and I've had a conversation too about where your program is going to next. And, you saw this finished piece, but you really, in your vision was what you wanted to ultimately achieve for people. And
Yeah.
so your journey is not finished. You've just got that first,
Oh,
here's this fantastic tool that you have. And then it's just like,
yeah.
it's leading you down this path saying, yes, show more, show
Yeah.
more.
Well, the
And it's
thing,
just
nobody
wonderful.
nobody creates a tool and says that's it's the finished article. The tool
Yeah.
is for creating something else. You design a saw and a hammer and nails, not to have a saw and a hammer and nails, but to use them to create a beautiful piece of furniture or something else, or a brand new boat or whatever. This, like you said, this really is the tool for something much, much bigger, and so much more to come with it. And like I say, even now, I mean, this is coming up 7 years developing this with the strategy and everything that's in the book. But I'm still only beginning to realise this is more than about what's in the head, like we're saying, about all the different areas of emotions within the body. And I'm now starting to realise how the emotional cycle actually fits with those as well. Like I said, now I'm starting to realise myself why even I'm going, okay, so I know why I've gone through this, why I should feel like this, what to do, blah, blah. Why am I still feeling like this? And it's like, yeah. And what you said tonight made me realise, what you said about your monkeys. And I'm like, yeah, that's what it is. My monkeys are squabbling.
Yeah.
And it's just always learning. Always learning. It can be simplest little things that make us realise that. But, if anybody's out there feeling like their monkeys are having a complete squabble and a family argument, reaching out to somebody like Michelle, just get in touch and choose love. And the book is there. We'll get the link up to that book in a minute. And just don't struggle. Don't plod along feeling lost and aiming wondrously. Feel aimlessly wandering. Sometimes you need to find somebody who knows the directions if you don't know them yourself. Sometimes we don't know our own point A and our point B. We just know we're going somewhere. And that's where people like Michelle and our Choose Love and all the work you do, which is amazing, and the book as well, Brain Unchained. It's all there to help you find and plot that journey, set your goals, your intentions, and get life back on track. Get everything aligned. Everybody deserves happiness, and everybody can have it.
The path goes like this. It's not a straight linear path. So, it's never a setback. It's just you went this direction, but there's other ways that you can now go. There's other options that are out there. Or you go, oh, I'm back having this emotion again. Oh, well, if you are, then maybe there's a little bit more that you want to look at. Or maybe there's this piece that you keep recognizing. And then we just have to erase that memory of the negative part of that and flip it over to the positive side. And and sometimes it's a movement, sometimes it's rubbing a point on the body. It's so fantastic. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for tonight. I think we're going to have to wrap up there. We have gone over the hour tonight, but I've loved having a chat with you again, Michelle. I always do love talking to you. So thank you so much to Yvette and Karen for watching in live tonight, and to anybody else who watches on replays, please do drop some comments in, let us know what you think, and do reach out. All the website links will be down there, and look forward to seeing you again next week. We have Graham Frost on with Heart-Shaped Decisions. Another interesting conversation I'm looking for. Following the week after that, I'll give you a quick update ahead. The week after that, I will be playing
you're recording
the recorded one from last week that I recorded early, and then it will make sense when it happens. And then the week after that, I have a gentleman who's just agreed this afternoon to come on. His name is Chris Moon. I've actually seen this gentleman speak live, and I'm excited that he's agreed to come and talk on here, because this gentleman is one of the most inspirational, empowering speakers I have ever had the privilege to be in the same room as. And he is a double amputee, had a serious accident, double amputee, but he was also the first white man to be captured in guerrilla warfare and released. So that is a very empowering story about how he managed to escape guerrilla warfare and then survived double amputation for another incident, and how he is one of the most positive people I have ever had the fortune to be in the room of. Brilliant story, and his words that he spoke 4 years ago have stuck with me over and over and over. when I've been through difficult times and have got me through some very difficult days, and so I'm really excited to have him on the show. So that's in a few weeks' time. So lots of exciting things coming up, but we'll keep you updated. And thank you so much to Michelle. Thank you. I had a lovely evening talking to you. And we will see you all again next Tuesday for Heart Shaped Decisions at 7 p.m. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.